If you told me 2 years ago I'd be running a 3D printing business from my living room, shipping orders across the world, I would have straight up dismissed the idea. But here I am. And now I want to show you how I did it step by step. In this video, I'm not just throwing tips at you, I'm walking you through my actual journey. What worked, what flopped, what nearly made me quit, and what made it all worth it. So it all started in 1893 when Truck Hall changed the game by inventing 3D printing. At first, it was mostly for engineers and tech pros, not practical for average person like you and I. But now it's mainstream. People want custom stuff, fast fixes, and one-of-a-kind products, and 3D printing delivers. The best part, you can start small from your bedroom, kitchen table, bathroom if that's what you're into. But with the advent of modern 3D printers from companies such as Bamboo Labs, Prusa, and others, the barrier to entry is the lowest it has ever been. So this isn't entirely a passive income. It's an active business that demands your attention. You'll need patience, consistency, and creativity. When you start, you will be the product designer, logistics manager, marketer, accountant, procurement manager, delivery driver. You get the point, right? However, if you're a builder, problem solver, or someone who loves learning and don't mind all the responsibility, then this could be for you. So here are some common myths that people tend to have. Just hit print and watch the money roll in. But the truth is, you'll be spending a lot of time testing, designing, marketing, and shipping in most cases. Another myth is friends and family will be my first customers. But again, strangers are your real customers. In fact, your friends and family may never, and I will say that again, never make a purchase. And on that note, learn to say less about your business to the wrong people. Sharing your ideas too soon can kill your momentum, and people who don't understand 3D printing or establishing a business will doubt you or steer you in the wrong direction. And unfortunately, this includes friends and family. Worse, talking about your idea gives your brain a fake sense of progress. So stop talking and start building. Find your tribe, find a mentor and like-minded people who are where you want to be and learn from those people. Now, choosing your first printer is perhaps one of the most critical decisions that you have to make. Forget the hype and go with what works. I started with a Bamboo Lab P1S and I did so because it was fast, reliable, and beginner friendly. Ask yourself these questions. Can it print what I want to sell? Is it easy to troubleshoot? How good is community support? Can I get serviceable parts promptly? And most importantly, is it reliable? Now, Bamboo Labs, as a company, they make reliable products, and I've tested that for myself. I'm not sponsored by Bamboo Lab. I wish I was, hint hint. However, I have used them and I can say that I've had no issues so far. I have stuck to the routine maintenance schedule and they have worked very well. But these are all relevant questions when choosing a printer for your business. If it is a hobby, then printers that require constant work may be your thing. But from a business perspective, you need efficiency, reliability, and something that works without you having to second guess. No, you don't need fancy tools to start. You can start with a few rolls of filament, and most people tend to use PLA, which is polylactic acid, because it's easy to print with and accessible. You'll also need flush cutters, digital caliper, and a deburring tool. You can start by using Onshape, or there are others that you can use like Fusion 360 or even Blender. Etsy is a good place to start out to sell your products, and you can use social media like Instagram and Facebook to drive traffic to your Etsy page. but you don't need fancy gears and you don't need much to start. When starting, if designing is a challenge, multiple websites offer STL files such as Thanks, Cult 3D, and many more, with commercial license allowing resale. However, if an item is trending, you along with 1 million others will have the same product. This increases supply and lowers demand over a short period, thus creating unnecessary competition and eventually low sales. A perfect example would be the mythical dragon eggs with the dragon inside. It was everywhere. But you can differentiate yourself by creating your own product. And that would be a better option in my opinion. You can incorporate other materials like wood, leather, or even metal into the final product. It allows brand identity, uniqueness of your product offerings, and allows you to cater to your specific niche and setting yourself apart from all others. Now, I started with Onshape, which is browser-based and it's free, but your files are accessible by the public. I also find it to be geared towards engineers, which make it a little challenging. They do have a paid version which makes save files private. However, I've moved on to Fusion 360, which I find has more features and a smoother workflow, is more user-friendly, and does what I want. It wasn't easy to learn, but YouTube and trial and error were my best teachers. Your first designs won't be perfect, but they'll get better. I think the key thing to take away is trust the process, be consistent, and try to learn as much as you can. This is something that you have to give some thought and make decisions based on what's practical. There are niches like tech accessories, home gadgets, household products, personalized gifts, and so many others. But don't print random stuff. Let me repeat. Don't print random stuff. Start with things you use or create solutions to existing problems. So my first success or a hit product, let me just enjoy my little victory, but it was a watch band storage and charging dock. Mine, I have to work on that name. And it's compatible with Apple Watches. And it's for people who love clean setup. Now, let's go into a little research. Apple Watch held approximately 20% of global smartwatch shipments in Q1 of 2025. That's 7.6 million watches sold worldwide. In previous years, Apple sold close to 31 million units in 2024. Now, Reddit, Mac rumors, and YouTube reviews often show users with 5 to 15 watch bands, and out of the estimated 100 million users worldwide, it can be estimated that around 25 to 30% of Apple Watch users own multiple bands and struggle with how to store them. That was my problem, and it's a problem which Apple does not offer any native storage, only separate charger. So while there are solutions on the market, they seldom offer storage or charging capabilities simultaneously. And that is where my product comes in. So it is important to do your market research to establish problems that you can find a solution for. Focus beats complexity. Serve one person, solve one clear problem, and sell one product that does both exceptionally well. So you can ask yourself, would I buy this product? Are others looking for this? Can I improve what's already out there? And most importantly, do your research. Now let's get into the legal side of the business. If you have a small budget, start simple. Sole proprietorship is cheap and fast. Test the waters. See if you like the business of 3D printing and see how things work. Learn as much as you can, and as you grow, look into incorporating for protection and tax benefits. Now, where to sell? There are so many places. Etsy tends to be a good one. You have Shopify, or your own website rather. You have Amazon, and you have local events. Etsy, easy to start. It has built-in traffic and marketing, but the fees tend to be somewhat expensive. Creating your own website offers you more control, but it needs a wider audience and more work to direct traffic to your website. Therefore, you will be expected to do more ad campaigns, build a wider audience, and direct traffic to your website. Amazon, on the other hand, has a huge reach, but the fees can be pricey. There are more steps involved to get set up, such as barcodes, trademark approvals, among other steps, but it's a good option. Bear in mind, not all products will sell well on Amazon, so do your research. The local markets is one that provides instant feedback and access to loyal customers, but know your demographics and the main focus of the event. Be selective with the events you attend. Choose ones where the audience is likely to be interested in the products that you sell. In other words, start where your audience already shops. Now, here's a marketing 101. Why 80% of your job is promotion? Now, design is just 20%. Marketing accounts for 80%. You can have the best product in the world, but if no one sees it or knows about it, it doesn't matter. The mistake designers, including myself, make is focusing on design and assuming that our work will speak for itself. We need to think like a real business owner and know that we have a living and breathing business that has products that require constant publicity in order to reach our target audience. So you can use Instagram, Reels, Shorts, TikTok, whatever you need to use. But post regularly, tell your story. So consistency beats perfection, but get seen and stay seen is more important. Now your photos equal first impression. People are turned off by crappy photos, so take some time to take aesthetically pleasing photos. Doesn't have to be professional, but at least good. Use natural light if you have to, clean background, and multiple angles. In your listing, keep it simple. Focus on benefits. Use keywords that customers search for. Good product, good visual, and a clear message equals more sales. Shipping and fulfillment is something that we tend to overlook, but you have to create good packages and impress your buyers. Use branded packaging if you can. If you don't have access to that, then you can use unbranded boxes. But include tracking so that customers know when their packages will arrive. Include thank you cards and coupons. Test shipping prices to find the most affordable and best service for you and your customer. Keep backups of supplies so you can always fulfill your order and have more than one shipper on hand. So in the event of a strike, you can have a backup shipper. Overall, good and fast shipping builds trust amongst your customers. Now, pricing. This is something which is very important. Don't compete on price, compete on value. This means don't try to be the cheapest option because someone else can always go cheaper and you'll lose money fast. When doing your pricing, factor these things in. The cost of filament, the time it takes to do your design, the electricity that you use to run these machines, packaging costs, platform fees, or your labor, overall labor, your transportation, the fuel that you use to get to your shipping or companies. Make sure there's room for growth and profit. As always, consider all these things when factoring your pricing. So in the description, I have a spreadsheet that I've used to do my pricing. It has all the essential stuff like your cost for filament, shipping, among other things, and labor. But you can change things around a bit to suit your need and see how best it can work for you. Now, customer service is so important. Dealing with people like a professional is very important. You're selling more than products. You're selling an experience. Respond quickly. Be professional. Handle complaints like a business owner. And just know that word of mouth is the best marketing tool. How much can you earn? This is the biggest question. And honestly, I want to be as upfront and as transparent as possible. With a solid marketing plan that you can consistently execute, you can make anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 plus per month in your first year. But the key is consistency, visibility, and how well you can identify opportunities and scale your business. Remember, design is 20%, marketing is 80%. Ideas are great, but money follows attention. So I just want you to know, you'll make mistakes, you'll waste filament, and you'll feel stuck. You may want to quit, but that's all part of the process. This isn't a quick flip, it's a long game, and I believe it's worth it. If no one has ever told you, I will. You can do this. Take the first step. It's hard, but it is doable. In the next video, I'll show you why most 3D print businesses fail and how to avoid becoming one of them. If you have made it this far, well, I'll ask you to subscribe and just hit that thumbs up button or that like button. With that being said, I will see you in the next one. Peace.